Mark Hamill is done playing Luke Skywalker.
Mandalorian.
So during a recent press tour on his latest project, Mark Hamill was asked if he'd be in the new Rey movie. He didn't hesitate to make it clear that he's done playing Luke Skywalker.
Listen, I am so grateful to George for letting me be a part of that back in the days, the humble days when George called it Star Wars the most expensive, low-budget movie ever made. You know, we never expected it to become a permanent franchise and a part of pop culture like that. But my view is like, I had my time, you know, I'm appreciative of that, but I really think they should, focus on the future and all the new characters. And by the way, when I disappeared I left my robes behind, and there's no way I'm going to appear as a naked Force ghost. I'm just letting you know that right now.
Now, at first when Mark Hamill was asked if he had even heard about the Rey movie, his response seemed almost jokingly sarcastic, which to me seems like he's been approached to reprise his role as Luke in the movie. But when he followed up, it felt more genuine, like he was actually considering stepping away from playing Luke. Now, I don't think he'll ever fully leave Star Wars, especially since he's always been involved in some way, often lending his voice to aliens or creatures, and even sometimes doing these roles for free. But it does actually seem like he believes that the franchise should move forward with new characters or with a Luke Skywalker recast. So really the big question is, will Luke Skywalker appear in future Star Wars installments? And I say absolutely yes, because Luke Skywalker is far too important to this period of Star Wars to cut him out altogether. And I think Mark Hamill believes this also. Because with his departure, Mark Hamill has left a paper trail pointing to who he wants to play Luke Skywalker. And it seems like he's stepping away from the role to make room for another actor. And it seems like his preferred choice aligns with the fans' favorite choice, someone who has shown interest in the role before, and that person is Sebastian Stan. Now, the reason why I believe this to be true is because Sebastian Stan's stunt double from Thunderbolts, John Nania, recently did an interview where he mentioned that Sebastian wouldn't take the role as long as Mark was still playing Luke. And Nania also mentions that Mark and Stan have actually met and talked about this exact thing.
Should be recasted as Luke.
Do you know how many conversations he and I have had about this? Literally, there was a moment that I'm like, I'm sure you've seen the picture of you as Luke Skywalker. He then told me, he's like, Mark and I have actually talked about this. Like,
that's awesome.
Not anything official on like Disney's level in Star Wars, but I guess Mark Hamill's been like, he's a fantastic actor. Let him do it. But then Sebastian, being as awesome as he is, he's like, Mark is still doing the job. I don't want to take the job from him and he's still working. You're not going to beat the original. But then his other side to it is like, they're not calling. He's like, I hear it. I'd love to do it. John is drooling because he would love to do it. It would make Anthony Mackie jealous as shit because he loves Star Wars.
Yeah.
And they're just not calling for it.
And then just a month later, Mark publicly states that he's done playing Luke. To me, this sequence of events feels too perfectly timed to be a coincidence. And I think there's been some kind of discussions that have started behind the scenes, though it's unclear if Disney is involved yet. And if not, Mark could be just putting his figurative foot down, forcing Disney's hand to either cast Stan or recast Luke entirely. But ultimately, I think this is Mark Hamill's way of stepping aside and giving his endorsement for Sebastian Stan to take up the mantle of Luke Skywalker. Now, in regards to the Rey film actually being Luke Skywalker's soonest appearance, as Star Wars fans, we know that this is most likely not true. For one, production on the Rey film isn't going to begin anywhere in the near future, since the movie script is still going through the drafting stages. And second, there's potentially 2 other films coming out before the Rey movie, to which all will have a high probability of Luke making an appearance, since Luke Skywalker during this time period is one of the most important, if not the most important characters in Star Wars. Now, the soonest that Luke could make an appearance would be in The Mandalorian and Grogu, which will be the first Star Wars movie coming back to theaters. And truthfully, it would make sense for Luke to be in the film at some point, either to save The Mandalorian and Grogu, or to help train Grogu again, considering that Grogu is one of the first Force sensitives that Luke has ever encountered in his whole life. And one of 2 Force sensitives, the other being Ahsoka, that we are aware of Luke knowing about during this time. Also, from a business standpoint, it makes sense for Disney to want to have Luke Skywalker, one of the most recognizable characters in film history, make some sort of an appearance in the first Star Wars film since The Rise of Skywalker, which was over 5 years ago. And all this raises the question of if Disney should deepfake or fully recast Luke Skywalker. Let me know in the comments what you think Disney should do. And this debate isn't new. It's been an ongoing issue with any new show or movie that Disney has produced since taking over Star Wars, starting with Princess Leia in Rogue One, and it seems like the fandom is pretty much split evenly in two over this topic. Now, the reason why I'm not mentioning Tarkin is because Tarkin was constructed the old-fashioned way using CGI, and we also saw that when Disney chose to recast Han Solo rather than using deepfake or even de-aging Harrison Ford, which Disney later did in Indiana Jones, it caused many of us fans to struggle to accept him as Han Solo, despite giving a great performance, and some, including myself, even argued that a deepfake of Ford would have been better. Now, when it comes to Luke Skywalker, when he first appeared on Mandalorian Season 2, the deepfake wasn't perfect. I mean, a lot of people thought he looked incredibly stiff, along with his color not being correct, he looked kind of saturated. And these are all fair points because deepfake technology was still in its infancy at the time. The technology was still new. And we saw the difference a few years can make, because by the time of the Book of Boba Fett, Lucasfilm's deepfaking had made significant improvements, which made Luke's appearance far more convincing. And this might have been the moment that really set off the debate of, hey, maybe we should deepfake these legacy characters. And given the time that's passed since the Book of Boba Fett, it's safe to assume that the technology has advanced even further. And from a storytelling perspective, keeping Mark Hamill's likeness ensures continuity, as well as keeping Luke Skywalker visually consistent with the original trilogy, The Mandalorian, and any future works. And it's also worth mentioning that Disney had previously stated that they wouldn't recast legacy characters moving forward, and this was in response to the mixed reception of Solo. And so this means that if Luke, Leia, Han, or Lando continue to appear in future projects, they will most likely be deepfaked moving forward. So let me know what you think in the comments. Should Disney stick with deepfakes, or is it time to fully recast Luke? And do you think Sebastian Stan is the right choice for the role? If you enjoyed this video, be sure to hit the like button. It really helps out the channel. And if you want more Star Wars updates, theories, and breakdowns, don't forget to subscribe. Thanks for watching, and as always, may the Force be with you.